So I'm up in Aberdeenshire this weekend. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of days off of my 9 till 5. So Atkins have given me a couple of charity days. So I'm up here to speak with some of the mountain bike groups that are doing some amazing work in the area. So first up, I'm going to grab a chat with Martin Byers from Gravitate Northeast. Martin, thanks for joining me today. We're up in Durriswood in Aberdeenshire. Brilliant to catch up with you. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
For those who kind of don't know Gravitate and yourself, would you be able to introduce yourself and just the charity as well?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Martin Byers. I'm the chairman of this this charity called Gravitate Northeast, and the purpose of this charity is to create a proper world-class bike park and adventure park in Aberdeenshire. And the way I guess it all started was it was Chris and I back in 2015. You know, Chris was living here at the time, and we kind of both thought there's a big geographical gap in the northeast of Scotland with like dedicated mountain bike facilities. So we kind of got together and we started this thing, and we got a charity set up. We got a committee set up, and Chris has since moved away to Bristol. But along with the committee we set up, we've managed to I've managed to kind of keep the thing going on locally. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's progressed quite a bit. So I guess there's been quite a journey over the last 4 years now.
Yeah.
So over those 4 years, kind of what's been the journey since
so
since the start?
So we got it set up, got the charity organised, and one of the first things we had to do was select a site. So we looked at about 40 different sites across the whole of Aberdeenshire. We narrowed it down to about 5 sites, and then we got a third-party independent consultant to come in and do a feasibility study, and they ended up picking Durris Forest as the preferred site, which is where we are right now. You see it's a nice beautiful space, open trees, not a lot of trails here.
There's a few though, one right here.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And so picked the site, but the second really important thing they did is when they looked at it, they sort of said, you know, mountain biking on its own might not work as a kind of, you know, a financially viable model. So we started looking at complementary activities such as, you know, like high ropes netting courses, zip lines, luges, but crucially a chairlift. And they said, you know, the chairlift is going to be the real differentiator that's going to draw people to your site to make it financially viable. So as a committee, we had to think, you know, this is quite a big deal. Are we going to really build like a bike park with a chairlift? And it was around about that time the project sort of changed, and we're like, yeah, let's go for it. You know, let's go big or go home. You know, yeah. Yeah.
So it took a bit of a turn at that point and kind of grew from a trail centre into something a lot bigger,
park, into a proper bike park. Yeah.
So I guess got the attention of a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So what's something we had to do around about that point, because we changed from a trail centre to a bike park, adventure park, so we had to rebrand. We used to be called Netco. I don't know who came up with that one. Is that you?
It's a stupid idea.
I think it might be me. Or
what was that? Northeast Trail Centre
Trail Centre Organisation.
Yeah.
It did the job
Rolled
for a while.
off the tongue.
Yeah. It did the job for a while, but we realised we had to rebrand. So this is where Gravitate Northeast came about. I got the committee together and I locked them in a room and I said, no one's leaving until we've got a new name, and it was post-it notes and mind maps and word association and stuff. And we're happy with the name.
Yeah.
And then we started getting a lot more interest from, you know, potential investors, quite senior people in local council. Even our project was raised in Scottish Parliament just days after we announced our rebrand. So it did the trick, yeah. So the rebrand works.
It's kind of elevated it up a level.
And it's given us that level of professionalism, and it looks slick, and now we're getting the interest that we really need.
Yeah. So I guess then just going further with the rebrand, you came up with the name.
Yep.
Who kind of got all the graphics and did the visuals? Because that's quite striking.
We went out to tender and went through a few different graphic design companies around the city here in Aberdeen. And it was actually the Robert Gordon's University that came back with, they came back with a great quote, but also their proposal on how the brand should look and feel was like really cool.
Yeah.
And just by complete random coincidence, the lead graphic designer that I ended up working with was a guy I used to mountain bike with like 10, 15 years ago. a guy who does helmet painting for some of the World Cup downhill athletes, Element 9 Graphics, Craig Scott. So that was super cool to get him involved as well. Yeah.
Excellent. That's interesting. So we've kind of touched on a few things already, but I guess from the early stage of the project, it was kind of realised that the centre couldn't just be a mountain bike facility.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are the kind of additional facilities which will complement the development?
Yeah, so once you think about adding in a chairlift, it's like, well, what can you use the chairlift for? What kind of hangs off that? So an obvious thing is like a nice big viewpoint up at the top of the hill. There's cracking views from the top of this hill. Not so good today. It's a bit misty, but yeah, jump on the website and have a look. Pretty cool. So chairlift, what can you do with that? You're thinking about, well, you can have like zip lines. You could have like alpine coasters. Obviously, the viewpoint are real key things.
Yeah.
And also thinking about how to make it a really inclusive, like family-orientated place. So high ropes, high netting, adventure courses. You know, cafes are absolute must. High quality local food. You know, your bike shop, your rentals. We want to make sure we're catering for people with different needs, sort of any kind of physical or mental challenges that maybe they might not be able to get on a bike or enjoy an outdoor forest environment so easily. We want to make it inclusive so these guys can get involved and really enjoy the outdoors in the same way that we do.
Yeah.
A bit of accommodation, yeah, camping pods. We want to make it a real destination where people can come and stay and you know, spend a long weekend or longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. These midges are...
the midges are killing me, but we'll battle through, Chris.
We'll keep going. Excellent. So yeah, obviously there's quite a community around. You've got Bankery, Aberdeen's half an hour away. Kind of what are the other benefits to the area then from having a facility up here in the northeast?
Yeah, so what's quite cool, I mean, yeah, Aberdeenshire, as people are starting to learn, we did the Scottish Enduro race at Pitfickie yesterday, and people are starting to realise actually the mountain biking up in Aberdeenshire is amazing, and the natural assets are amazing, but there's no built assets. So to promote mountain biking and outdoor sports as a whole, we need built assets as well as natural assets.
Yeah.
And then what you start to create is this natural kind of adventure sports mountain bike corridor experience up the whole of the Dee Valley.
Yeah.
So you can start in Aberdeen City. First stop would be Durris, which is quite a large established, or it will be a large kind of bike park. And then you've got Aboyne, Bankery, Ballater, all the way at the Dee Valley that takes you to Glen Shee. So you've got this like really nice package that's bookended by Glen Shee and Durris. As this kind of adventure experience, where you can come and spend like a week. Yeah. So you've got those, the main Dee Valley, and then you can kick out to Benihee and Pitfickie as well as little kind of bonus riding spots.
Yeah.
So as a whole, this place is massively up and coming. It's the next hot ticket in Scotland, maybe globally. Eh?
Globally, yeah.
Globally,
exactly.
Yeah.
Will be the hot destination to come to.
Definitely, yeah.
In a few years' time.
You know, we're working really closely with the like the head of Visit Aberdeenshire, which is the local tourist board, a guy called Chris Foy. He's a super keen cyclist, does a bit of mountain biking. The head of economic development for the area, for the Aberdeenshire Council, Belinda Miller, super keen mountain biker. You know, things are changing. You know, the decision makers now in sort of in private and public sector, they're not all just playing golf anymore. They're out mountain biking and they're road biking.
They're doing something
and they're skiing.
Exciting and adventurous. Yeah.
So it means that we're now in a place where our sports that we love, mountain biking, skiing, snowboard and adventure sports, are being taken more seriously. And economically, we've seen like the impact in the Tweed Valley and in the West Coast and Fort William. It can be huge for the region. You know, we're predicting injecting about 2.6 million per year into the local economy on the back of this project, you know, supporting up to like 80 jobs or
pretty far-reaching now.
50 full-time equivalent jobs. So yeah, it's big economic impact and social impact as well, you know, health, well-being. It ticks loads of boxes. Like, it's something that we really need.
Yeah. There's kind of huge benefit of sport and mental health, and there's some really interesting research happening down in Napier University on mental research like programs, so it's got a lot of benefit.
I've been hooking in with the guys. I've been doing that research. I've been to some of the conferences in Aviemore. I keep in touch with Develop Mountain Biking in Scotland and keep tabs on what they're doing and seeing how their studies with the NHS and Napier are going, and it's super fascinating. even just this, like sitting out in the forest having a chat.
We're getting exfoliated as well.
Yeah, getting exfoliated by midges. But forget about the midges. It's you know, you can do that. You don't have to sit in an office to have a meeting. You know, you can have a meeting out in the woods. You can have a walk or a cycle. I went on a road biking networking event a couple of weeks ago.
Brilliant.
It was great. Like, just met people and you're cycling, and you know, why would you sit in an office and do that when you can do it in the road bike?
So we've selected the location. We're in Darce Woods just now. In terms of actually taking things forward and the development, where are we with that? And, can you talk about that?
Yeah, things getting serious. So what we have to do is we have to get all our financial models in place and our demand models. So on the back of our first feasibility study, a sort of local private economic development organisation called Opportunity Northeast, they hired a guy called Andy McNay from Venture Extreme to look at the whole adventure sports package across Aberdeenshire. And part of his work was to reassess our study and have a look at that. So he's helped us do our demand model, which is actually looking a bit more favourable than our first one. So we could be looking at anything from like 130,000 to 150,000 visitors a year.
Okay,
so pretty big.
It was less than the first feasibility study.
Yeah, I think the first one was looking at about 110 to 130. Yeah. I think our latest figures are more like 130 to 150. So so good numbers.
Extra 30,000
visitors. Yeah. So that was one of the first things. Do your demand model, and then do your financial planning, like your capital expenditure model. Yeah. You know, pre-construction and then construction through phases 1 and 2. So you need your construction capex, but then you also need to understand your operating financial model as well, your OPEX. Yeah. So we've built all of our capex, OPEX, demand models. Yeah. So the next thing really for us is, you know, get after some significant funding. And also, we're really close to actually submitting a community asset transfer request for this parcel of land. Okay. So
and that will take ownership from the Forestry Commission as it is now over to Gravitate.
The preferred route is for us to buy the parcel of land and to run it as a, you know, we'll have to run the forest.
You'd manage the forest as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a lumberjack shirt and maybe grow a big beard or something. So us as the group of trustees will become landowners and not landowners, but we'll be responsible for the land and the forest and managing it. Yeah.
That would be an exciting time then.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Excellent. And we kind of touched on it, but funding's a massive part of such a big project.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You're talking millions, but that's going to bring in 2.6 per year potentially. So where's that funding coming from? Is there like certain funds out there you're targeting?
That's the main focus for us just now, is to figure this out, and we're working closely with Opportunity Northeast to build that kind of that financial plan to get us through to the next stage. So we don't know for sure where it's going to come from. We're looking at all options. We're looking at corporate funding, sort of I guess government funding as well, sports funding, disability funding, private investment. Nothing's off the cards just now, and we're really just trying to figure that out. Hoping to do some work with Scottish Enterprise and see what they can kind of come up with as well. So that's the next thing, yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. It's really it's going to be certainly a challenge, but no, we're up for it.
Yeah, definitely excellent. So then, with funding, promoting the project, how can people actually support it at this stage? Is it word of mouth, getting their hands in their pocket?
Glad you brought that one up.
Key thing, isn't it? So.
I mean, one of the most important things for us is we are a community project. So as a board of trustees, there's 5 trustees that kind of steer the direction of the organisation, and we've got another 5 committee members. We're responsible for managing it for the benefit of the community. So we've opened up a membership structure, and we've got over 120 members we've got now, So it's community driven, and the way people can support is, it's just spreading the word. If they're local and they want to join as a member, get in touch. You can become a member, and there's lots of good member benefits to being involved. It's a great learning experience. If you're not so local or you don't want to be so involved, going on to our funding pages, going to our website, you can sling us £1 here or there. We accept donations to trail forks. You can set up your Amazon account through Amazon Smile to make donations.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways to donate, and you know, lots of small donations really make a massive difference. So if anybody can spare a couple of pounds, we'd be great. Really grateful to have a couple of quid.
Yeah. Excellent. That's good. And then website Gravitate Northeast.
Yeah, gravitatenortheast.com. Jump on, have a look, see what we're doing. You know, find out about a little bit about the history, about the people. Yeah, just get involved.
Excellent. And then I guess when I was involved, there wasn't really much happening in the Northeast. It was mountain biking was big, it was popular, but it wasn't really on the map. And then Scottish Enduro Series came up here. Netco at the time, that was sort of progressing. But since then, it seems to have been a bit of a catalyst for a lot of other projects.
Yeah, totally.
So we're going to actually spend a bit of time with Will Clarke and Doug Blease later on. So Will's the mountain bike coordinator up here, and Doug's part of the Aberdeenshire Trail Association. So like how are all the projects coming together, and it's helping each other out?
There's really good vibes up here just now. So I think one of the key turning points was developing mountain biking in Scotland, getting the budget to get Will Clarke in that position, where he could actually kickstart all these other kind of projects. So through that, developing mountain biking in Scotland, we were able to help us get funding through the leader, to get our feasibility study carried out, to do our rebranding, to do some of the marketing. So that was a massive boost. Another part of what Will's doing is obviously the Aberdeenshire Trail Association. So there's a few key people who are members of that, including myself. We're now trained trail inspection and maintenance coordinators. So, you know, with the Aberdeenshire Trail Association looking after the natural assets and Gravitate focusing on the built assets, between those two, we've got a real strong offering. And then you've got all these, like, you know, there's lots of kind of smaller local shops that are popping up that are really supporting the community. Guys like the Benheath Bike Bothy and 2020 Bike Clinic and the guys that I ride for as well, who they're not a small shop, they're a big shop. They do the Santa Cruz, Cycle Highlands out in Ballater. All these guys are really, they're big picture guys. Yeah, they're thinking about, like, not just how do I make my shop more successful, they're thinking about how do I make the whole region successful so that everyone benefits. So it's really cool to see that kind of big picture joined up thinking happening between all these different organisations, and it's rubbing off. You know, people at the Enduro yesterday, like the vibe was great, wasn't it? People
it's always positive, isn't it?
And people are just saying, you know, Aberdeenshire is like kicking off. Like, I want to come here and ride more. I want to see more of the trails. And all the boys are just like, do you know what? Give us a shout. We'll show you some other riding spots, all the way up the Dee Valley, out at Benheath and, you know, Durris.
There's plenty about, isn't there?
Loads going on. Yeah, it's super cool, super cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a good vibe around the place coming up here, and seeing, just all the locals out racing, having a good time, and just talking about all the projects going on. So,
definitely.
Yeah, that's positive. So yeah, I'm going to go and have a chat with those guys later.
Yeah, go for a bit of lunch out at the Ride Cafe. Another massive supporter of mountain biking and road biking as well, that guy. Yeah, exactly. Simon out at Ride. Yeah, we're going to have a chat with him.
Excellent. And we'll jump on the bikes, I think. And
go and do a couple of turns, couple of jumps, give it a go.
Yeah, just see what's here in Durris.
Alrighty.
This is going to be transformed in a few years.
Yeah, we're looking at like high-end sort of flow trails. We've been chatting to the guys at Bike Park Wales. Like, I'm serious about getting really good trails in here.
That's what it needs.
Definitely.
Excellent. All right.
Alrighty, Chris, let's do it.
Cheers for the interview.
Thanks very much. Cheers. All right.
Alright, well, thanks for taking the time today. We are in Ride Cafe in Banchory just now, so I guess it's quite a new cafe. Good spot.
Nice, good spot, good cake.
So you are the mountain bike coordinator up here in Aberdeen, or Aberdeenshire.
Yep.
So I guess for anyone who doesn't know the role or yourself, so if you could just introduce yourself and just a little bit about the role you're doing.
Yeah, so I work for Developing Mountain Biking in Scotland, and we're a project hosted in Scottish cycling. We deliver the national strategy for mountain biking. As you said, I'm the Aberdeenshire coordinator, so delivering the project up here. We've got 4 main elements to our project: maintaining and developing our existing natural trail facilities, supporting new facility development, working with businesses either already in the mountain bike sector or who wish to get into the sector.
Yeah.
And the 4th element is developing Aberdeenshire as a mountain bike destination with our tourism links as well. So those are the main aspects of the role.
Yeah, so it's quite a broad role you've got then. So
quite broad, really interesting, and hopefully we can do a good job.
Excellent. And you've been in post just over a year, is that right?
Just over a year now.
Excellent. And then, I guess just in that time, how have you seen things grow in Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire?
Yeah, well, obviously before my post there was already a really good mountain bike community here, but I guess we've been able to give some stuff additional impetus, and the way the community have all come together, different projects, different groups, even groups that are kind of outside the mountain bike sector who have realised the benefits of being involved or ways that they can support. So there's a lot of positive momentum right now.
Excellent. No, it's great to see that Scottish Cycling are getting behind the area and putting someone in post to support it. So there seems to be a lot of support and interest in just mountain biking in general, and you've got a lot of companies and projects in the area now. So is that local support really important for all of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we had this post in place, a lot of the support was national based, and obviously it's much better for the local groups to have someone on hand, on site almost. It's much easier to build those relationships, and it's also much easier to link them up with who they need to be linked up with.
Yeah.
So we hope we can have a positive effect across all those different sort of spheres of mountain biking.
Yeah. Is there certain areas you're seeing sort of the most interest within those 4 areas that you talked about?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of exciting stuff happening just now. I mean, the Aberdeenshire Trail Association has been a real success of ours, and they're really important. They're maintaining and developing our current trail network, and that's really important for our landowner relationships, Forestry and Land Scotland and private landowners as well. And if we want Aberdeenshire to be a really viable tourist destination above and beyond what it already is, then those relationships and that ongoing maintenance is going to be really important.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got a lot of facility projects going on as well, which will obviously add to that as an attraction.
Yeah, we'll definitely come on to that. So yeah, I guess you mentioned the facility development. Gravitate, who we've spent a bit of the morning with, Martin Byers, the chairman. So I guess I was involved in getting that going in the early days. That's a bit of a flagship project. It's ambitious and will kind of be a big centrepiece, I guess, of the full developments up here. It's pretty inspiring, but yeah, in your role, I guess, how do you support that sort of project?
Yeah, well, Gravitate it's really exciting, it's really ambitious, and as part of our national strategy and our Aberdeenshire strategy, it's really key for us to have a regional level trail centre, almost as a hub, to add to the attraction of Aberdeenshire. And obviously there's a good group of people in there now, and we're trying to support them as many ways as we can. The support predates my appointment as well, through the setup of the project, and we've invested some money in the project too, so we're quite keen to support them going forward.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the momentum's behind it just now, and that's around that. There's also a lot of other projects, ATA. So I guess that's coming on the back of that and working together to develop the area.
Huge enthusiasm at the minute. I mean, Gravitate are aiming for that big regional level trail centre. We've got other facility projects going on as well, like Tarland Trails are looking to expand their trail network. Aboyne Bike Park are looking to expand theirs. There's the D-Side Bike Collective who want a project here in Bankery as well, and that's looking really positive. And obviously we've got Downhill Farm further north, which is kind of different offering.
Yeah.
We've got a few pump track projects on the go as well, and part of the sort of liaison we've been doing with private landowners, some of them are looking at how they can take advantage of the natural trail network as well to make them more destinations. So it's all looking really positive on the facility development side.
Yeah, so it appears that there's a huge amount up here riding wise. It's maybe not that well known, and there's maybe people outside the area aren't aware of that, of the network and the natural trails that are here. You've got Pit Vicky, which is the original sort of trail centre in the area. So is there work to try and promote the area for
Yeah,
for outsiders?
absolutely. So we work quite closely with Visit Aberdeenshire as well, and we've commissioned some videos that come out later in the summer, which will showcase some of our various different riding destinations. Yeah. They can't showcase absolutely everything we have, but they'll give some key places, depending whether you're a family or a single person or an enduro racer. Some places you could start off your Aberdeenshire trip, and then you could reach out to some of our local guides, or even come participate in some of our events that we have going on to get a better feel for it as well. So we hope that through those various streams people will get to know a bit more about Aberdeenshire, and as you've seen yourself, as word of mouth starts to spread about the quality of trails and stuff, more people will come to visit.
Yeah, and then with all the different projects and things going in the area, what can locals and people further afield do to support the development in this area and the mountain biking growth?
Anything at all. I mean, it's as simple as keeping an eye on our social media pages from all those facility projects, from our guides, from our shops, to to Gravitate, the Aberdeenshire Trail Association, and just spreading that word around really simply. There is opportunities to come and put into the trail network, volunteering with the Trails Association. If they've got expertise that they can lend to some of the facility projects to help them advance their causes, then that's also super. And if there's any avenues for funding available, I mean, every project would be happy to hear from people with links into that. So anything's welcome. Yeah,
and then on the horizon, is there any sort of major things in the not too distant future happening in the area?
We're hoping to keep this momentum going. Obviously, we've got a good network of events happening in Aberdeenshire now. We hope to kick on with those, make them a bit bigger, make sure the publicity is going round about them so everybody knows how good of a network we have. All our facility projects are at slightly different stages, but we're hoping by engaging with a range of different partners we can get some of those to move forward and actually get spades in the ground. So we've got some new facilities, and obviously the Trail Association work is making a massive difference to our current trail network as well. Yeah. So if we can keep the momentum going with all these things, the business community is supporting as well, so there's benefit for everyone.
Yeah, that's excellent. And then I guess we've covered that, but yeah, there are any areas you hope to support and specifically go further? Is there, I guess, that missing piece just now that needs a bit more of your input and kind of support to get going?
Yeah, I mean, I guess all the projects are critical because it's all part of the wider picture, and they all kind of rely on each other. Yeah. So we're just trying to get them all, whatever challenges they face or whatever opportunities they have, try and help each project to kick on and take advantage of the real good feeling we have right now. So fingers crossed that publicity from the likes of yourself will help, and we'll see what we can do in the next 12 months.
Yeah, excellent. Well, yeah, I guess thanks for time today, and good luck with the kind of next year ahead and going forward.
Cheers, man. Thanks very much.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Nice one. I was with Doug and Will, and just going to take a run down one of the ATA trails that have had a bit of work done in the last year. Really good movement up here with trail development and maintenance. So Will's going to lead out, and then we're going to grab a bit of a chat at the bottom on the River Dee. So it'll be a nice spot to talk about what's happening up here. Coming in, flex. I just wanna win, LABB who we running with, 2233, I'm on 10 again, state your name. Been dope on flame, I just switched the lanes. Damn, he did it again, I just flipped the pain. Stripping and dipping in bass, slab on everything. Swimming, you sinking away, cause I got big racks coming. I put my low racks on it. I had to skip past losses, I had to get back off it. See the fit lab on it until they put my coffin. Yeah, great spot. So Doug, we're here in Bankery at Scoffy Hill. We've just ridden down one of the trails that you've had a bit of input into in the last year. So yeah, would you kind of just give a bit of background to the ATA and yourself, actually? That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm a committee member of the Aberdeenshire Trail Association. We've just ridden a short section of trail which was a safety diversion put in by a group of volunteers, maybe up to 40 people all involved all in total, and a collaboration with a local mountain biking group as well. So Trail Association supported that piece of work.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a nice change from what this section used to be like. It was a bit of a sort of fast entry onto fire roads. So is that a sort of running theme just now with looking at
this location side? It's about access and exit points to try and mitigate the perception of high risk for the land manager. So anything we can do to kind of achieve that, as well as increase trail network and increase trail durability and quality, then we're up for supporting that.
Brilliant. And ATA, it's been around, when was it sort of formed?
We're really new. We only formed in late 2018 with some significant support from developing mountain biking in Scotland, and particularly our regional coordinator Will Clarke. Without their support we couldn't have come together. Those guys brought together a group of a number of really progressively minded individuals who wanted to adapt and change trail culture in the region.
Excellent. And then is there sort of a bit of a focus just now? Is there areas that you're looking after in particular?
Yeah, for sure. We've got quite a heavy workload for probably 18 months. The focus really is on projects like this where there's a standalone safety issue, not necessarily in trail difficulty, but in terms of reducing conflicts with other land uses around. But our focus mainly has been on the community asset of Pitfickie cycle trails in the northeast of Scotland. It's one of only 2 community assets that we have, despite such a big region. So our focus there is a monthly trail maintenance session at Pitfickie.
Yeah, and then you're kind of obviously getting a lot of volunteers. What are numbers like, and how's the enthusiasm with everyone coming along to help?
The numbers are high. In fact, we've had some sessions which arguably we've had too many volunteers, or we've essentially quote unquote sold out and we've got requests for more spots. But the numbers per session are dictated by how many trained coordinators we have access to run the session. We try and run it a 4-to-1 ratio. So that means 15 to 20 volunteers signing up through Eventbrite, through our website, every time we have a session. We either have a Saturday session, or in the summer we have a Wednesday evening session once a month.
Yeah, that's great. And you've clearly got a lot of coordinators then, if it's a 1-to-4 ratio. That's quite low.
Yeah, we've got a really good network of trained coordinators, somewhere in the region of 18 trained coordinators, some of whom are able to commit a much higher degree of work, and some of whom aren't. But essentially we try and get those guys to lead sessions or lead small groups on a session. And that keeps untrained volunteers guided as to good quality trail building and trail maintenance.
Excellent. And tools wise and sort of the support you've had to get going.
This work's all done with hand tools.
Is it all hand work?
All hand tools, yeah. So we've had significant support from Developing Mountain Biking in Scotland, who gave us a start-up fund. We've had other donations from other mountain biking linked organisations to help get us going because they recognise the need. So we've got a really good collection of hand tools, and we've just made more purchases recently. But going forward, these things are going to wear out, so we need to keep that fundraising going, and keep the tool investment going so that we don't have a pause in works.
Excellent. And someone's obviously got a shed full of tools somewhere.
Yeah, they do. They're kind of shared around a bunch of people, depending on the event coming up. But storage is probably the next challenge for us, having somewhere where we can store our kit safely and securely.
Yeah, there's a few trail associations now popping up throughout Scotland. There's the Tweed Valley Trail Association, I think I've got the name right.
Yeah.
Yourselves, for anyone who's looking to copy that sort of group and set up something similar in their area, what would be the advice you'd give to them?
Yeah, I couldn't recommend it more highly. I think as the sport is booming. It's growing really fast, and the pressure on the land is not insignificant. So this pushing towards a more of a sense of custodianship is really important, a sense of responsibility. Otherwise our sport might be seen in a poor light. We need to represent ourselves really highly, and I didn't envisage an association type thing until Will Clarke was involved, and his experience in bringing community groups together was just invaluable really. Up until that point the community were thinking about regional representatives for different forests. That might be a thing for the future, but actually the current Trail Association setup is the way to go. And the way to get set up really is to bring together that group of like-minded people who can commit the time, because there is a lot of time involved. Seek support from your local government body, whether it's in Scotland, England, Ireland, wherever you happen to be, they should be able to help you out.
Yeah. And then working with the landowners, some are obviously a bit, say, worried about mountain bikers coming to their land, others are really supportive. How is that relationship with various areas?
We've got to think about it professionally. We've got to think about it in terms of landowner liaison. This is a partnership or a collaboration, long-term and really positive and professional communication. If we're at conflict with landowners, we're not going to get anywhere. A big part of the misconception with landowners, we think, might be the lack of knowledge about the economic benefits of mountain biking to a particular town, village, area or county.
Yeah.
That's really the basis of where to move forward. Landowners...
got a fly, a bee there. Excellent.
Landowners are obviously worried about the risk involved in terms of liability or accidents happening on their land. So we need to mitigate that risk by presenting our sport in the most high quality vision that we possibly can.
Yeah, but working with organisation or association with yourselves, it's really going to help that safety aspect of it and make it lower the risk in many cases.
I think what we have to understand is that the actual trail work is a really, really small part of the project. There's so many more hours go into landowner liaison, the paperwork, the risk assessments, the trail inspections and the trail scope of works.
Okay.
The actual trail work is a few hours on a Saturday morning. The rest of it is purely logistical, and so any trail association group has got to be able to commit to that.
Yeah, brilliant. And you've got regular sort of meetups and dig days, and how are you arranging that over the year?
Right, so, but essentially we have a calendar on our website. It seems to be working really well, and the calendar kind of gets updated. It's really short term at the moment because we're selecting projects on a priority basis, and maybe at some time we'll have a few months worth put ahead. We find that if we put 1 or 2 events up at a time, we get really, really quick uptake. We go through the website, there's a hyperlink to an Eventbrite page where people can sign to a free ticket. That's really important for us because we need to know how many people are coming and we need them to be on site punctual. So that level of organisation then also feeds into the risk assessment for the works going forward, because trail work is hard labour, it's not particularly safe. So
you've got a friend there.
I've got a friend, yeah.
Popular.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So yeah, there are risks involved with using hand tools on the trail, so all that's quite carefully managed, and yeah, part of it's a booking system, but we think that works really well.
So if anyone wants to help out in the area or travel from other parts of the country to come and dig up in Aberdeenshire,
amazing, yeah.
That would be good. And the website is the best way to...
Website's the best place, and of course you can get there through the social media. So we tend to put our hyperlink for a new events page through our Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, you can get to those places through multiple ways.
Excellent. And yeah, it's an exciting future for ATA.
Yeah, it should be busy, yeah.
Growing organisation, and it's, yeah.
Yeah, the feedback's been really positive so far, and we're a humble bunch of people and we want to be challenged and criticised to keep improving. So the more engagement we get from the local riding community, the better.
Brilliant. Well, I think we should head up and ride that track again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll finish up. So
great. Thanks very much.
Good luck for the next few months digging.
We will do. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.